As a refresher, Ilvermorny School of Witchcraft and Wizardry is located on top of Mount Greylock in Adams, Massachusetts. Now, the UK and Ireland serving wizarding school, Hogwarts, had solved this issue in the 1850s, the end result being the Hogwarts Express, a scarlet steam engine that would take students from London's King's Cross Station to Hogsmeade Station near Hogwarts in Scotland. Now, England isn't as large of a country as the United States, which is far more ground to cover. Not to mention, Ilvermorny doesn't just serve the US, it serves all of North America, including Canada and Mexico. So that's a lot of land to cover. This also raises a question of how wizarding mail would work, because sending an owl from New York to California just won't work very well. But that's a topic for another video. With that in mind, we need to answer the question of how do students travel to school. Well, we can surmise that, like Hogwarts, the students were likely at one point allowed to use any means to travel to school. Before the 1850s, Hogwarts students used anything from flying a broom, which is noted to be a difficult task, while carrying a trunk and cage and all of the school supplies, to flying carriages and portkeys. According to the old Pottermore site, traveling by portkey made students sick. Some tried apparition, which never worked well due to the school's anti-apparition charms. So flying carriages seem to have likely have been the favorite option, so long as you didn't get motion sickness. Now, I imagine that Ilvermorny draws a lot of inspiration from Hogwarts, and the administration would likely be very interested if they heard that Hogwarts had solved this problem. So here's what happened with Hogwarts. At some point before the 1850s, Minister for Magic Adeline Gamble decided that best way to solve this problem was to use a Muggle steam engine. She had built a station at Hogsmeade, and the train went into effect. However, she could not persuade the ministry at that time to build a magical train station in London. However, in 1852, the Muggles solved this issue by opening King's Cross Station in London. Then Minister for Magic Evangeline Orpington seized the opportunity to create a concealed platform, Platform 9 and 3/4. This platform would house the Hogwarts Express and is only accessible to witches and wizards. So, as Ilvermorny in the Magical Congress of the United States of America, what are you to do? Well, I imagine that they too built a train station near Ilvermorny and their equivalent to Hogsmeade. I imagine that if the Mount Greylock wilderness can hide a whole castle, it can hide a little wizarding community I'd like to call Greylock City. Though the name isn't super important. This community would then get a station, but where would students gather to begin with? Well, the American equivalent of London is New York City, as New York City was at one point our nation's capital, and by 1892, MACUSA had moved to the Woolworth Building in New York City. However, assuming they made the Ilvermorny Express shortly after Hogwarts did, in 1852, they'd have no train station until 1871. At that time, Grand Central Depot opened in New York City. This became a major train depot in New York. Construction on it began in 1869, so it's likely MACUSA jumped at the opportunity to have their own concealed platform. The question would then be, did they manage to finish the secret platform then, or during the expansions on the depot in the late 1890s? Either way, by 1900, this depot was renamed to Grand Central Terminal. Furthermore, I could get even more specific. The Hudson Line travels north, and while only going to New York stops, the line does get close to Massachusetts. Some of the tracks, as we call them instead of platforms, that service the Hudson Line are tracks 16 and 17. There, Ilvermorny students would find the barrier to the secret magical track 16 and a half, this being a play on the year Ilvermorny was founded in 1621. This would perfectly mirror the situation we find for Hogwarts. Now, this brings us to a final question. How would students from all over the US, Canada, and Mexico arrive at Grand Central Terminal while avoiding the aforementioned problems of broom flight, apparition, and portkeys? Well, with MACUSA moving its headquarters to New York in the 1890s, one potential option is for students to use the Floo Network to arrive at MACUSA, then head to the terminal. There could also be a New York equivalent to Diagon Alley as well, with a pub like the Leaky Cauldron, where students and families could stay before heading to the train. So, what do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all again. Mischief managed.